Okay, one of you asked to see either problem 38 or problem 40 from tonight, so I will walk you through it here. So we start looking at first, what's the amplitude? The amplitude is always the number in front of sine or cosine, so the amplitude of this particular one is 1. Then we need to find the period. Well, the period is always 2 pi divided by b. So the question on this problem is, what's b? Well, b in this case is pi fourths. So the period is going to be 2 pi divided by pi fourths. So as I've taught you, when we divide by a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of pi fourths is 4 over pi. And I can get out the slasher and mark out the pi's, and I find out that the period of this particular sine graph is 8, which seems odd because there's no pi in it, but that's okay. I also need to find my road markers. So I told you that the road markers are always the period times 1/4. So the road markers in this case are 2. So I believe on this problem in the book they told you to do 2 periods, but we'll start with 1 and then continue on. So nice long line there. So I'm going to go out to the period point first, which is at 8. Okay. Now, the road markers, we're going to count up by the road markers. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, and this is going to be what we call 1 period of this graph. Okay, so my amplitude was 1, so I only need a 1 and a -1. And then I'll use this pretty green here. We just put in our road marker values, which with sine we always start at 0, then we go up here, we go back down to 0, we go down to -1, and back up to 0. So here's 1 period of the sine graph. If we're supposed to do 2 periods, we just keep counting by these road markers. So I'm going to keep counting by 2's. 10, 12, 14, 16, and then I just continue on this same path that I followed for this first period. I continue for the second period. So I start at 0, I go up to 1, back down to 0, back down to -1, back up to 0. This is why the sine, cosine, and tangent functions, all the trig functions, are called periodic, because they keep repeating things a period at a time. So the period in this case, it's kind of weird that it doesn't have a pi in it, but the period is 8. So here's 1 period, and here's another period, and we'll stop there.